Hello everyone, Mega Man NG once again with another Gen 6 Wi-Fi battle. Today I'm battling against Oscar, aka Poke Emulation. This is a test of his new team that he has, and this is going to prove to be a really interesting battle. Not to mention a really hilarious one. Links in the description, check him out, he does some good content. He starts off with a Latios and it's shiny, and I send in my Empoleon because this guy is really going to be pushing me to my limit. He starts off the battle with a Dragon Dance, boosting his attack and speed, and I'm thinking this guy may either have Luster Purge or Draco Meteor. I don't know, and I don't think it really matters because I go for an Ice Beam, and this is where the fun begins. I get a crit, and I get the freeze, which is kind of gay. He makes a switch because I know I'm going to take him down with another Ice Beam again, and he sends out a Victini, and it's not every day you see a Victini in a battle like this. Yeah, in the Gen 5 metagame, this thing is a UU, but it didn't really matter, though. It's not as effective. My Ice Beam didn't work, and I get another crit. Now, that makes 2 crits now. And he now goes for a Fusion Bolt, which I believe is, I think, like a Mystery Gift type exclusive move, and it did, like, a lot of damage, but it didn't do much. Yeah, it has a Shell Bell, which was able to restore HP, but I go for a Hydro Pump, and that basically takes down Victini. Yeah, I was prepared for anything and everything, but it is kind of cute seeing Victini. He reminds me of Pro Victini, though. I just hope he doesn't get mad at me for killing a Victini like that. Now, his next Pokemon, he sends out Lucario, aka Beast. And I had to make a switch because I'm thinking this guy may probably do close combat. And my thought may be right, so I send in Staraptor. The Intimidate kicks in and I lower his attack points. But that's not going to make any difference because this guy decides to Mega Evolve. He Mega Evolves into Mega Lucario, and this is where this Lucario, is going to be a serious threat. He goes for the close combat, and that does a crap load of damage that destroys my Staraptor, and he gets a crit. I'm already counting 3 crits now so far in this whole battle. Trust me, there will be battles where there will be a lot of crits, and it makes me want to put a crit counter. So I send in Roserade, hoping that I can do like serious damage, but he makes a switch, which is a smart play, so that way he could like reduce the damage of like the close combat thing. And he sends in a Latias, and I go for a Sleep Powder, and this Latias is shiny, just like Latios. I'm like wondering, how the heck does he get shiny? Is he that lucky? I actually talked with him after the battle, and it turned out he got it from some friends. I go for a Shadow Ball, hoping to do a lot of damage with this guy, and it didn't really do much, and it's fast asleep, and I'm like, thank goodness. He's got 1 Pokemon frozen and 1 Pokemon asleep. That's not going to do well for him, trust me. He makes a switch, and he sends out Cresselia, and my god, another shiny? Another shiny Cresselia? What the heck? I go for another Shadow Ball once again, and that didn't do much either. But he's recovering with leftovers, so I'm not complaining. I'm just going to take this thing down hard and fast. I go for another Shadow Ball, hoping to do a lot more damage, and it does so. It really does do a lot of damage. And he pulls off an Aurora Beam, which is kind of strange. Though a Psychic would have been much better, it's kind of weird seeing him use Aurora Beam. It's just like random. Not as random as I thought it would be. So I go for one more Shadow Ball, and it actually does take down Cresselia. I do have to admit, the shiny look for Cresselia is actually pretty cool. No complaints there on my part. Anyway, he sends in Lucario now once again, and knowing him, he's probably going to do a close combat, which he does. And despite having not very effective, it did took down my Roserade hard. And I think Mega Lucario's special ability is Adaptability, which means it adds extra bonus damage if it's using the same type. Now, I'm going to go into Electivire, hoping that I can do an Earthquake, and he makes a switch again. That's 2 switches now. He now sends in his Latios, and I knew that he was going to do that since his Latios is frozen, but I pulled the Earthquake, and it had Levitate, and he made a pretty good prediction there. However, sadly, that doesn't really make any difference because I use an Ice Punch and I take down the frozen Latios. Sorry, Oscar, but I had a little choice. Anyway, he sends in Glider, his Gliscor, and this one's a regular. So he goes for a Protect, my guess, to scout. I go for another Ice Punch, and it didn't work. However, it turned out this thing has a Toxic Orb, so I'm thinking Poison Heal. That's what I thought. So I go for an Ice Punch, and I take down his Gliscor in just 1 shot. Type 4 times 4 weak to ice, so yeah, there's that. At least now, things are getting to be interesting. He sends in Lucario yet again. I was going to go for the Earthquake, but that thing is fast, and he goes for another close combat, which takes down my Electivire in one hit. And I'm like, damn, that had to hurt like hell. And I'm thinking, this thing is fast, this thing is deadly, and I'm going to be in serious trouble. I needed to do something fast, so he goes for another close combat. That thing is faster than my Blaziken, and yes, this Blaziken is not a Speed Boost Blaziken, it's a Blaze. So I get more points for that. He takes down my Blaziken in one hit. He doesn't even get a chance to attack, and I'm like, this guy is going to be a big problem if I don't do something fast. So I send in my Alakazam, and I activate the Alakazite, and he Mega Evolves to one of my favorite Pokemon, Mega Alakazam, and this guy is going to prove to be a serious help, trust me. So I activate the Trace, and it turns out he does have adaptability, which is the reason why. And I go for a Psychic attack, hoping that I could just take this guy down in one shot, and I do that. Thank God. That Lucario was more trouble than it's worth. He sends in Latias, which is fast asleep, which is surprising. I go for a Signal Beam, and the Signal Beam does do some damage, but to be fair, I should have just went with Dazzling Gleam, because Dazzling Gleam would have been a lot better. However, sadly, this Latias has a Citrus Berry, so it did get itself some much-deserved help, but unfortunately, not enough. I go this time for the Dazzling Gleam, and I take down this Latias with just one shot. Thank goodness. Thank you, Oscar. I really enjoyed this battle. You have some very interesting Pokemon here. I just hope that in the future battles you can put them to their potential. A really good team. I really enjoyed this battle. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. It does mean a lot to me. It does mean a lot to Oscar. And it does mean a lot to everyone who watches, rates, comments, etc. And I'll see you guys next time with another battle. Alright, take care, guys.